This is an excerpt from the Wait Are These Guys Friends podcast. Have you ever played the game Superfight, Randy? This could be a fun exercise.
No.
So, normally, the game Superfight is played with at least 3 people. Because 2 people would fight and one person would be a ref. And it's even more fun when there's more people because everybody starts to argue. And you actually normally play it where you are trying to weaken the other fighter and blah, blah, blah. But that said, instead, since it's just you and I, we're going to treat this as some hypothetical discussions.
Okay.
I am going to draw. It's still shuffled and random drawn, but I selected a handful of fighters and a handful of abilities. And we are going to randomly draw some fighters and abilities, and we're going to talk about who we think would win these fights.
Okay.
Normally, it's a game where you're trying to strengthen or weaken your fighters, and people are arguing who would win. This is just going to be a little discussion for you and I, sir. It's going to be great.
Great. Okay.
So we're going to start with our first battle is going to feature an Olympic gymnast versus a dolphin.
All right.
And now, on the outset, before we add any abilities, who do you think would win this battle, and why? I mean, in my mind, the Olympic gymnast pole vaults over into the ocean and puts her toe right in the blowhole, and the dolphin's dead. That's how I think it goes down personally. But if you have a different take, please let me know.
So my thought process is that the physiological makeup of the gymnast would consider them to be... I don't know for sure that the gymnast could swim.
I would like to think the gymnast could swim. Isn't it inferred that if you're a gymnast, you could probably swim? I don't know.
But there's no aquatic competition in gymnastics. I don't know.
Okay,
so.
well,
but you're an athlete, so
let's add some abilities and see what happens here. Okay, we're gonna add 2 for each.
Yep.
The first thing for the gymnast is that gymnast is actually 10 stories tall, so they can walk into the ocean. No issues.
Okay.
But the dolphin is wearing a jetpack. So now that we've added in these variants, does this influence you in any way?
So I'm trying to think. Dolphins are mammals, right? So they have to. They breathe above the water, right? They're not.
Yes, pop up.
So it's fine.
They may not be able to lay. They may not be able to stay outside the water
they're not
forever.
Okay, they're not like frogs or something where they dry out or whatever, right? Like, do they?
I mean, they would eventually, but I think if he's in a jetpack, a dolphin can live out of. I'm googling this. A dolphin can live out of water for hours if it is kept wet and cool. So I'd like to think that while the jetpack will heat it up, he is moving. I am sure. The dolphin is, and obviously, if it's wearing a jetpack, there is some assumed intelligence, especially because dolphins are smart anyway.
Exactly.
That they would be able to dip in and out as needed to take care of themselves. But then, maybe it's a dip down, come up, make an attack, and then go back down. But also, this gymnast is limber and tall, so maybe they just fucking swap and kick it. I don't know.
And also probably has, due to the musculature, are probably can jump very high, and if they're 10 stories already,
right? Do they just squash this dolphin?
This is getting really problematic. Do they just reach up and
just step on this flying dolphin and crush it down?
I'm trying to find ways for the dolphin to hang in here, but I don't know.
There's one more ability for each that we're gonna add. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So first off, this Olympic gymnast who is 10 stories tall can also read minds.
Jeez.
So, but the dolphin. The dolphin who's wearing a jetpack is armed with a lightsaber.
Okay.
But admittedly, with the little fins, do they have a range of motion? They might have one. Doesn't mean they can use it, is the way I'm looking at it. They're armed with it. Doesn't mean they're fucking proficient at using this.
Also, plus the coordination and the agility of this
while
10-story tall gymnast.
No,
the 10-story tall gymnast that can read the mind of the dolphin and know what it's about to do.
Mm-hmm. How dare you? I wouldn't have ever done that. Oh no. So I mean, I guess my gut reaction then, and you're probably the same, is while this dolphin is very well armed and very mobile, I think a telepathic, limber, 10-story tall gymnast is probably going to win this fight.
Sometimes these things are matchups, right? This is a bad matchup for the Dolphins.
Yeah, good stuff. And it's a shame, too, because on paper, the Dolphins seem stacked. And against a different opponent, it could be a thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. These are very specific characteristics that target well to the
Yeah.
dolphins' weaknesses in this regard. So I think, sorry, dolphin, it's a go gymnast.
Our next matchup is Santa Claus
Okay.
versus the common cold. And these are without attributes. I mean, you got to think Santa's magic, but the common cold is tough to get rid of. I'm dealing with now. It lingers. It stays. You don't know what it could be. What's your gut reaction here?
Is the common cold interspecies contagious?
I mean, Santa is human enough, isn't he? Or are you saying he's not?
No, I'm talking like if it affects his reindeer, like, all the other stuff. Like, does the common cold take down his whole operation? I mean, I guess if it starts with him, Mrs. Claus, then the elves, you're,
All right, I'm Googling, can the common cold infect reindeer?
I also, and this is a little dark, Mike, but I would believe that if there's somebody out there that is addicted enough to cold medicine that they would ask for it for Christmas, that potentially Santa would have that at his ready.
Maybe, or somebody's just desperate. But let's add some modifiers. Ready for this?
Yep.
Santa also has telekinesis.
Okay.
But this version of the common cold also turns you into a narco. No, that how does this work with the common cold? It doesn't turn you into. Maybe it's a feature of the common cold.
Okay.
Let's discuss it. Narcolepsy is a feature of the common cold.
Okay.
In my mind, I think if this was a person, and not the cold, I would say that person was narcoleptic. But because this is a virus, I think it causes narcolepsy. Am I right in interpreting it that way?
I do feel like this is counterproductive for the common cold then, because the idea of the body's white blood cells is to fight while they're asleep, the resting, so they could fight the common cold. But all right, well, maybe this
let's
is a different
add the
thing.
Other ones and just see what we had. This feels like an instant win for Santa, actually. Because Santa, who has telekinesis, is also armed with a live T-Rex head on a stick. And this new version of the common cold causes you to regrow body parts at will. Santa's immortal. He'll be fine.
Wow.
And he'll eventually get over the common cold through rest. You're right. The common cold accidentally developed something that would improve Santa. So this is a non-factor for me.
And destroys itself. This is very
Let's
strange.
move on. Unless you have a point, let's move on.
Well, no, and it's not just another way that Santa could win, so I don't know if it's really that appropriate. Telekinesis, and this is it, I'm asking you what your thoughts are. Is telekinesis on a cellular level? Like organism? Could you
I've never thought of it that way. I was going to say,
could you force components of the virus out of your body with telekinesis?
I mean, now maybe if you're that talented, perhaps you're right. If you have that kind of a pinpoint precision. But I've always looked at it more of like it's a mental fist, like grasping something, grabbing something. Right. The ability to move. Now, you could be able to move a bridge, but I've never thought of it as the molecular structure of that bridge. It's you have a really big mental arm and you're grabbing a bridge.
It sounds like he's in good shape anyway, because the common cold is not very well equipped in this fight.
It mutated to be something I might want, actually, frankly. Like, I'll take a couple of days of cough.
Knocks me out and I go nap. Yeah, great.
All right.
In good shape.
So our next one feels pretty bog standard. Seems like it should be a quick answer. I can't wait till the modifiers come.
Oh boy.
It's Hercules.
Yeah.
Versus a panda.
Uh-oh.
I mean, obviously, right now, Hercules just comes up and puts his fist through the panda's head and we call it a day. Yeah. Like, am I wrong? I don't think he would do that as a person, but if he's we assume that this panda has to die for some reason.
Superfight, right?
Yeah, exactly. But now let's see what we got. Hercules. This is not going well for the panda, sir. Hercules is
pretty one-sided so far.
They really are. Because Hercules is also riding a nuclear missile.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Is Hercules immortal? I forget. He's not, right?
He's a
semi-immortal.
That's the whole thing. Is he's mortal, but they didn't fuck it up. They fucked up removing his powers just enough where he has like the strength and the endurance of the god, but he's also mortal.
So you have to get off of this nuclear thing.
Yes, he's going to die if he stays on it. But the panda this somehow tracks with Hercules. So Hercules riding a nuclear missile, and I didn't grab these like on purpose out of symmetry. This just happened this way. The panda, however, is riding a depressed centaur. So the centaur may not want to live. The centaur may just be looking like, whatever, bro. Have you seen the fucking tail coming out of my ass? I don't know how I feel about this. What are your go-to reactions now that we've added this? It doesn't feel like it's changed the game.
No, because unfortunately, I think the depressed centaur would again more be running towards Hercules on a nuclear warhead because it's just like, I'm ready to end it.
Yeah, so it's not going to go well.
He's going to take the panda with him. I don't care about you, panda. I'm depressed already. And
so this is confusing because I want to see the visual of how this plays out. Because the next one for Hercules is not only is he riding a nuclear missile, but he's also riding a horse. So is he on the horse, on the missile, and that's how he's going to get off the missile. He's going to jump off the horse and gallop away.
Why the centaur is depressed? I don't know.
Because he knows. Why is the centaur depressed about the horse? Does he want to fuck the horse? Was he in love with the horse?
He's part horse, right?
Yeah, but why is that why he's depressed? Because the horse is. I assume he's the type of centaur. Is there a reverse centaur? To me, a centaur is human top, horse bottom. But is there ever a horse top and there's just a guy with a human dick floating around?
BoJack Horseman, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. He's technically. I thought he was just an upright horse. Does he have a human bottom?
I thought that was the point, horseman. But I guess I haven't watched it in a while.
I never really got in. Sorry.
I don't know enough about it to actually.
I'm gonna look it up. Right now. So I'm gonna look this up. No, he's an anthropomorphic horse. He's just an upright horse.
Okay, gotcha.
He is not a centaur. He's a self-loathing, cynical, alcoholic horse. Everyone is an animal because I know that the agent played by Amy Sedaris was a cat.
Right.
There is a human in there, but there's not, as far as I'm aware, a centaur.
Gotcha.
But anyway, are you ready for... Oh, this poor panda's dead.
Yeah.
So it's Hercules riding a horse on top of a nuclear missile.
Yeah.
Versus a panda riding a depressed centaur, but the panda is also wearing one of those cones they put on pets to keep them from licking themselves. So, yeah, it's pretty one-sided, wouldn't you say?
I mean, I think we've found the source of the centaur's depression. It's like, how did I get this draw to be stacked up against what's coming at me? Looking up, that's a big muscle-bound dude.
Listen,
on a nuclear warhead.
I just have this image of the panda eating bamboo. Pandas eat bamboo? Pandas eat bamboo, right?
They do, yes.
Pandas eat it, just looking down, looking at the centaur who just shrugs at him, and he just adjusts his cone and he eats the bamboo, and the missile's just coming down.
I think they are not very active either.
No, they're very sloth-like, yeah. What do you want to say here? 2 more?
Yeah,
Let's do 2 more, and then we'll start to wrap this up. Just a fun little exercise. It got my mind going. It's been a good way to kill the lazy day.
Indeed.
Fight my own cold that isn't regenerating me, unfortunately.
Indeed.
All right. So we have a billionaire playboy. And note, it does not say Batman. It doesn't say Bruce Wayne. It says a billionaire playboy, which really limits some skill sets.
Yeah.
Versus the Statue of Liberty.
Okay.
And I have to imagine if it's the Statue of Liberty, it's not a static statue. It's got to be Ghostbusters 2 style.
Yes.
I would infer it's a Ghostbusters 2 style.
Mm-hmm.
Which immediately just gets, unless the statue is willing to take a payoff to do something, I imagine it's probably squashing the Playboy at this point. Am I wrong? But would the Statue of Liberty, hang on, ready for political soapboxing, Randy?
Nice.
Ready for this? Maybe at this state in America, it would take a payoff. Thank you. I'm a hero. I'm going to add in a lot of clapping and music to make it sound like I made a really good point. Maybe I've taken America to task, wouldn't you say, sir? Maybe the Statue of Liberty would take that payment from the Playboy to win the fight. Huh? I'm going to keep the clapping in. The clapping in. I'm a real page. I'm an making amazing.
Is nothing sacred, Mike?
Yes.
I'll just stop talking. I'll just try to come up with as many generic lines.
Okay, good. All right. Anyway, the clapping's over. Clapping's over. All right, good. The Statue of Liberty squashes the Playboy.
Dead Playboy at this point.
Let's add some modifiers then. Let's see how this fight goes. The Playboy can control hair growth.
Yeah. All right.
But the Statue of Liberty has one tiny baby arm. which doesn't really do much for it. I think it's still just stomping.
I mean, depends on which. Yeah, right.
Or no, alternately, the Playboy can grow cushioning to stop the stomp. He can control the hair so much that it's and that stomp is like a squish, and it's not happening, and it's not happening, and it takes away the statue's one play here, and then it can wrap it up and like toss it away. If it can control hair and growth, like can't it? Because it does say it can control the hair.
Right.
Like, couldn't it use it as like a weapon? Like, I hate to go back to Inhumans. There's, I think, Medusa, who has the hair that can be used as a weapon that is like almost sentient. Couldn't you use that as a fight? And suddenly, I feel like this Playboy is kind of shot.
Yes, but I mean, if we're taking liberties, see what I did there with the hair growth. Is it just regular hair? Because it would have to be. I mean, what the thickness would have to be such that it would be strong enough to do something like that, right? I guess if I mean, it does say growth, so right, it could technically just thicker and thicker and thicker until it's, almost like what, spider web or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like there's an option here to control it. Like I feel like it's not necessarily the best offensive.
If you could do hair growth and then just continue almost like braiding it or twisting it until the point it's that,
exactly,
something like that. Okay,
it may not be the most offensive thing, but it's a great defensive weapon. I feel like netting, protecting, blocking.
And like a whip too, like or a rope. Like you could really use it like in
like
that
there's a
pull
shot.
It down.
I feel like that ability, as silly as it sounds, with proper use, it makes this not an instant death for the Playboy.
Also, does the Statue of Liberty know what the billionaire Playboy looks like?
I would imagine that they are clear on their opponents.
Okay.
I'd say they're clear on their opponents.
They see them initially, and then they grow the hair, and they have...
Oh, it's like a disguise thing? No, you're right. I think they're clear on their opponents to start the fight. You could just hide. It could be a no contest, as it were, because we lost the Playboy. But then I think he'd make an extravagant purchase or try to get on a jet. And they'd be like, "Oh, found you. You couldn't hide forever. You had to spend that money."
No one can afford that. Yeah.
All right, you ready for the second modifier?
Yes.
The billionaire Playboy, who can control his hair, also really, really has to pee, which to me is actually incentive to get this fight over with.
Right.
Like, he's got to go, and we have to be done. I've been there. And you're like, can we wrap this up? I got to take care of this. While the Statue of Liberty, who has a tiny baby arm, is also armed with a machete. What is not inferred here is the machete in the tiny baby arm? Because it's the Statue of Liberty, which means they also have the torch.
Right.
So I feel
Which one, though? Is it
right? That's the question. You don't know.
Tiny torch?
You don't know. I don't know. But one of these... You lose sort of the mobility of one of either the big torch or the machete, because it's kind of, if it's a T-Rex arm, it doesn't matter.
Unfortunately, I feel like this sort of neutralizes the hair thing. Start hacking through that, right?
You're right, because even if it's a tiny arm, if it starts coming through with enough time, it's getting through. You're right. The machete takes care of the hair.
I guess, is it tiny respective to the Statue of Liberty's actual size, or tiny...
It says
thinking versus like
it doesn't just say tiny arm. It says tiny baby arm on the card.
Oh, okay. So if the machete, I mean, it wouldn't technically be able to wield the machete, so it would be pointless to have that. So that would be neutralized there.
Yeah, because again, like we said with the lightsaber and the dolphin, armed doesn't mean using. Armed means you have it, right? It doesn't mean you can use it. It's armed with one.
So... Well, and then there's the other thing then. So it would obviously drop the torch because it wouldn't be able to hold it in the baby arm. So it wouldn't have the torch if the baby arm is there. And if the baby arm is the other arm that would be holding the machete, then it wouldn't be able to use it there either.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like somehow weirdly the Playboy in the hair still has a shot in this.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your gut reaction? Who wins this fight? Before we move on to our last one.
I mean, I guess it would depend on how long the hair growth can hold, right? Is it just, it can be...
It doesn't say there's a limitation. It doesn't say there's a limitation. There was not a limitation to the controlling of the hair.
So it's good for defense. How does ultimately the billionaire playboy win?
In my mind, it's trapping the Statue of Liberty. If it's defense, it's a netting thing. It's not getting through. It's not moving. It's immobile. It's not an attack. It's a grip it down, keep it from going.
Or use the hair maybe to wrap around the legs and pull it into the ocean or something like that. Yeah,
I weirdly am going with the Playboy here. It seems like an odd choice, but I'm going with it. You agree?
I also think he would have he has the funds to purchase some sort of, air-based attack.
That's true. Just because he can control hair, he's a billionaire Playboy. He has resources. We're limiting ourselves to the hair thing. We're forgetting he's a billionaire. He could probably call in a lot of favors. So, and also, hang on, get the clapping ready. Edit Mike later.
Oh boy.
He can buy anything he needs from America to defeat the Statue of Liberty, right? Thank you. I'm very noble. Thank you. Our final matchup.
All right.
Is a senior citizen bowling team versus King Kong. Now, on its face, it seems very straightforward. But maybe King Kong has a heart for
eyes for one of them.
Yeah, you don't know. Maybe it wants to really get close to one of these or all of these bowling teams. He has a heart. Especially, one of the things you have to remember, King Kong is not a soulless monster. He was tormented. He was tortured. Sure. There's a fight happening here, but these senior citizens could... Which kind of senior citizens are they? Are the old, angry senior citizens, or are they the kindly old who will, show some concern here? I don't know.
I mean, maybe they have a kinship they recognize that they've both been ostracized by their communities and sometimes stared and gawked at. I don't know.
Okay.
I still think King Kong wins this so far.
But... 100%. It's a...
Because all it takes is one little switch to flip. And
you're right, and he'll get upset really, really quickly. I'm going to just take a stab here. Since we have a bunch of cards left since our last one. What's really nuts here? All right, here's a bunch of inappropriate, some red label ones. I'm going to mix them up. Let's take one of the red ones without me being able to see it. I can just tell it it's red. So the senior citizen bowling team can pull any weapon out of their anuses. But King Kong can only attack the opponent's genitals. Which really kind of...
Yeah.
Does that... is he closing that hole, as it were?
Oh.
Yeah.
I suppose by crushing or rupturing, I don't know, does that affect
Would you like me to go?
The ability?
No. You know what? This was too inappropriate for you. You're a delicate flower. Let me. I
was just trying to think more from a biology standpoint.
Let's pick some nice milk toast ones. It was too much. The senior citizen bowling team, they've lost their anus powers, Randy. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. All right.
But they all now are wearing suits of armor.
Okay.
But King Kong can kill with a kiss, which probably is accurate anyway. It doesn't have to be a poison ivy type thing. But, oh my God, I didn't know I grabbed this one. This is perfect. This is awesome. This is a game changer, Randy. Now, there's still senior citizens in armor. But the senior citizen bowling team wearing armor, they're all 100 stories tall.
Oh.
I did not grab that on purpose. That's a perfect...
Got some rampage-style shit here. All right, great.
But King Kong, who can kill with a kiss and is still King Kong, can now also fly. So what do we got, Randy? Tall senior citizens armed with bowling balls and armor versus King Kong with seductive killer kiss, but he can fly.
100 stories tall?
Yes. How tall is
King Kong? Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like 20, 30 feet, maybe.
King Kong. How much is considered a story?
10 feet.
A story is 10 feet? How did you know that? Good job. So King Kong ranges, depending on the film, from 12 feet to 300 feet. So what film are we taking?
Which? 100
here we go. I found it. original 1933 King Kong was 24 feet tall. So he was, what, 2 stories. But he was listed as 50 feet in marketing of the time. So that would be, what, 5 stories.
Yep.
But let me look up.
That is 1/20th the size of these senior citizens. So.
But let me look up what the tallest one was.
Okay.
So, okay, if we go with the current King Kong from the Skull Island Monsterverse movies and who fights Godzilla, he is 104 feet.
Okay.
So, like, that's an even matchup. Well, not with height-wise, not with amount of...
No. You said 100 stories, right? That's 1,000 feet tall.
Yeah. Oh.
So he's still 10% the size of these senior citizens.
So even if we go with the 100
in armor.
Oh. Yeah, I guess I'd be the senior citizens then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he'd have to be real angry. I mean, he can fly, so if you can knock him... I mean, that's the thing. They are senior citizens.
Can fly.
So he knocks...
They're fragile, but they're not... Even with the armor, they're fragile. Yeah.
He's got to knock... All he has to do is knock them down, and I think they're done. Because the armor is going to weigh him down. They'll be done. Yeah.
I know this doesn't help, but if we go to Godzilla vs. Kong, where he has aged, because he is younger in the Skull Island, he is up to 335 feet, which isn't much more.
A third the size.
A third, plus he can fly, and he just starts smooching them all day long. And he's killing them with the kiss, But then I have the armor.
Though, because the armor, right? But I think all he has to do is knock them over. Senior citizens are going to have trouble getting up, plus the armor's going to weigh him down.
He just lifts it up, smoochy. And then,
so that they fall down, they're having trouble getting up. He lifts up their ass, kiss.
If they were 20 years younger, they'd have this fight. But it's the senior citizen aspect that gets them here because they maybe were noble warriors once. They were doing amazing things. However, it's bad timing.
Yeah, the only thing, I guess, if they were able to, how many of them are there? If they were enough that they could.
I mean, how many people are on a bowling team?
4,
How many people on a bowling team? 4. So it's 4 of them.
So if 2 of them were enough, or even 3 were enough to hold down King Kong, and then they are able to like bowl at King Kong, I would think 100-story even senior citizen.
There's a bowling ball right to his balls at some point, like right between the legs.
Like that could, if that scenario was there, because if they could hold him down so he can't fly.
Yeah.
The armor would protect him from the kisses.
Yep.
And then they kind of wing the bull. One of them wings the bowling ball at him. I think that could be the end of King Kong. I think that's the only way they win. Otherwise, King Kong flies around, knocks him down.
That feels extremely precise to the point where I still want to go with King Kong for this victory.
No, I agree. But I was saying that's the only way I can see the other way going.
Yeah. I got you.
Far more likely, I think King Kong takes this. So finally, a matchup that at least wasn't as one-sided as the others.
They felt very one-sided. Do you want to call it there? Or do you want to do one more?
I think we're good.
I think it's a good one. Now we got one good match.
Good one to go out on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. But this was a fun exercise. It got the brain moving. I feel more awake than I did when I started the day. This is the type of mental exercise you needed to really get your day moving.
Some good games.
Yeah.
Good discussion.
Good. Yeah, absolutely.
Or I guess we'll let the listeners tell us. But
the listeners.
For you and me, anyway.
Yeah. Listen, we do this for us. We love that people listen. We want you to listen. We want you to enjoy it. But at the end of the day, this is to entertain the two of us. That's what it comes down to.